Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2023 Fixture Reaction series. And yes, if you guys were just wondering before I start, yes, the Fixture Reaction series is coming back. I've had a little bit of a break from it, but we are going to go ahead and finish this one off nicely and strongly. And this is the halfway point of the series right now, the GWS Giants one, the halfway point. And just if you want to know a bit of an end date, it'll probably be wrapping up around end of January, start of February, because, yeah, pretty much from now it's going to be fixture reactions until the end of January. Alright, so with all that out of the way, let's just go ahead and start, yes, the halfway series, but of course teams like West Coast and the Western Bulldogs are still towards the end of the video, end of the series as per usual. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start. And in round one, the Giants and the Crows will be clashing at Giants Stadium. Now, I feel like Giants Stadium is probably their biggest weapon they'll have this year, and that's where they're going to be able to, well, you'd think, pick up a couple of wins, or at least you'd hope. At Giants Stadium, you wouldn't want to see them have a winless season, and they're not going to have a winless season. I'm going to predict that right now, but I'm going to say that Giants Stadium, they can host a couple of lower teams there, for example, like North Melbourne or Hawthorn or West Coast. They're definitely in with a crack to get a couple of wins out of that, and then you can't forget Monaco was surprised. So there are definitely, there's some avenues the Giants have to win games. Round one, whether they'll win or not, I reckon that's probably going to be a better game than what we all think. Now, round two very interesting games to start off the season for the Giants from a win-loss draw perspective and a ladder perspective as well. They could drop both these games. They could win both of them. I feel like this is going to be really interesting to see how they go in their first two games. But round two, however, is up against the West Coast Eagles at Optus Stadium in Perth. And I reckon this is going to be a really, really, really good contest, one that you definitely want to watch. I feel like both these two sides are around the same level. I feel like they'll finish both in that bottom four in 2023. I wouldn't be expecting surprises from any of those teams either. But yeah, West Coast, Optus Stadium, they're going to have to, they'll definitely win a couple of games there in 2023. Giants, Optus Stadium, I'm not sure how they're going to go there this year, to be completely honest. It's going to be interesting to see. They play okay there, but they're not the best side there. I reckon this is going to be a really good game in round two. So round number three, GWS versus Carlton at Giants Stadium now. Again, I don't think this is going to be anything special, this game. I feel like it's going to be a pretty comfortable Carlton win. I think finally at Giants Stadium, they'll really get their groove on and have the capability of smashing in round number three. Round number four is going to be a really good game. So three of their first four are actually pretty good games where they should be competitive. In fact, I feel like they should be competitive in all four of their games, to be completely honest. I can't see a reason why they can't be competitive against Carlton at Giants Stadium, a place where Carlton aren't going to play that well. So, to be completely honest, they should be competitive in all four of these games, and I reckon they should be able to pick up results in about two of them, to be completely honest, to start off the season, really. Essendon versus GWS at Marvel Stadium, round number four. This is going to be a pretty good game again. I do feel that like these two sides are around the same level. However, Essendon don't play too bad at Marvel. The Giants, you don't really know at Marvel for them. I reckon this is going to be a big test for them, this game at Marvel versus Essendon. I reckon it's a cracking game. So yeah, really interesting start to the season. So round five, things get even more interesting. Obviously, Magic rounds. GWS versus Hawthorn at Norwood Oval. This makes things interesting as well. So to be completely honest, their first five games, they could be 5-0 after round five. I see that being very unlikely if you've got a couple of tougher opponents. For example, you've got the Crows at home, which you'd expect them to be a better side, West Coast away, and then Carlton at home, and then the Bombers away. So they could definitely lose all their first four as well. But yeah, GWS versus Hawthorn, round number five at Norwood Oval. This is going to be a really good game too. Well, what's been 5 really interesting opening up season games here for the Giants. This is going to be a really interesting game, and if they haven't won a game to this point, this would have to be their first win, you'd have to think, for sure. Although it's in South Australia, things will probably change. These two sides wouldn't have played there before, so that's going to make things even more interesting. So round 6 now is GWS versus Brisbane at Monaco Oval now. Again, this is where the Giants are probably going to enter a tougher patch, considering they've played 5, not easy teams, but they've played a couple of easy teams in the first, a couple of teams that are around the same level as lower teams in the first few rounds. Things are going to be getting a lot tougher, and by a lot tougher, probably a winless streak. GWS versus Brisbane Manuka Oval round 6. That's going to be a tough game. Sydney versus GWS round 7. SCG. That's going to be a tough game. Round 8 though, GWS versus Western Bulldogs Saturday night prime timer at Manuka Oval. Look, I reckon this could be a good game. Manuka Oval could be a big weapon for them, considering that the Western Bulldogs, they played at Giants Stadium last year. They haven't played at Manuka Oval for, well, at least not last year or the year before that, to be completely honest. So this is definitely their chance to, if not win, but this is definitely a chance to make a statement. Make a statement to show that they are going to be competitive in most of their games. Because if you can try and adapt a game style like what Adelaide have done, the thing about Adelaide, their key to being not necessarily success, but their key to rising up the ladder has been their relentless effort and trying. If you can do that, you might not get results in all the games, but you can at least try. And I reckon for the Giants this season, competitiveness is going to be key. If they can at least try and compete and put together 4 decent quarters, I reckon they'll be in with a shot to get a couple of upsets this year, especially at Manuka Oval, for example, and Giants Stadium. So yeah, I reckon this game could be a better one than what we all think, and I reckon the Giants could really put up a contention against the Western Bulldogs, although because it is a lower ground, the Western Bulldogs could absolutely blow them away as well. Round number 9, Collingwood versus GWS at the MCG. Again, I wouldn't be expecting anything special here, but Collingwood, whether they're a side that blows teams away in 2023 or not is a big question. Do they go back down the ladder, considering that 2022 consisted of mostly close games, or will they continue to be up there in 2023 and this year really start to blow teams away, get that percentage up and rolling? This could be their perfect chance, Collingwood, to really get this percentage off and away for 2023. Although for the Giants, again, competitiveness is going to be really important. Back-to-back Sunday afternoon games. GWS versus St Kilda, round 10, Giants Stadium. This could be a better game as well. St Kilda, probably, Giants Stadium probably isn't the best place to play for them. They're probably not used to that ground, which could give the Giants a sneak peek. Round 11, Geelong versus GWS at GMHBA Stadium. This is going to be tough. Really tough for GWS. I highly doubt they'll win there. Round 12, GWS versus Richmond at Giants Stadium. Hopper and Terrance will be going up against their former side in a Sunday afternoon game. Look, there's probably no way they're winning this, but there's going to be a very good rivalry going on there, and there'll probably be some maybe some tagging going on, and definitely a bit of a rivalry. Maybe even a few fights tagging up here and there. Round 13, North Melbourne versus GWS Blunston Arena. This is going to be a really good game as well. The Giants could snare a win at Blunston. North Melbourne, you'd be expecting them to be better in 2023, but to be completely honest, I'm really not sure about where North Melbourne and GWS will sit. Probably somewhere in the bottom 4. North Melbourne could climb out of the bottom 4, not quite sure at this stage, but I reckon this is going to be a good game. Round 14, GWS versus Fremantle at Giants Stadium. Saturday twilight game. They're actually playing a couple of them this year. The Giants, round 15 is their bye, and now we move into the games where the dates and the times are unknown. So to start off, round 16 to 24, they've got Melbourne at TIO Traeger Park. Now, I reckon that they're not really much of a chance, but here's where things can get a little bit interesting, and they can be a shot in probably all 3 of these games, to be completely honest. GWS versus Hawthorn, Giants Stadium. This is going to be interesting. Hawthorn at Giants Stadium. I don't think Hawthorn can play well there at all. I feel like this is definitely a must-win game for the Giants. Adelaide Crows versus GWS at the Adelaide Oval. For whatever reason, whenever the Giants play the Crows, they blow them away. So you'd be hoping, if you're a Giants fan, this record can stay and they smash the Crows away again. The Crows probably going to be a better side in 2023 though, so watch out for them. But this could be a pretty good game, considering the Giants against the Crows, the Adelaide Oval, don't have a bad record. And then the Giants play the Suns at Manuka Oval, and this is a danger game here for Gold Coast as well. Manuka Oval, they're not going to know that ground very well. This is a perfect chance for the Giants to scalp in and get a massive upset. So then they travel down to Mars Stadium with Ballarat, which is almost task impossible. It's not impossible. We've seen many teams contend down there and actually win there against the Western Bulldogs before. The Suns were extremely competitive, and the Crows did it in 2022. So there does seem to be a little bit of a gap opening up where you can squeeze through and beat the Western Bulldogs down there. Could the Giants pull off the massive upset down there? Maybe. And then they play the Swans in the Derby at Giants Stadium. That's going to be tough. Adelaide Oval have a really poor record against Port Adelaide there, so that would probably be a loss. And then in round 23, they've got a pretty simple, reasonable win game. They should be able to beat the Bombers at Giants Stadium, and they have Carlton in round 24 at Marvel to finish things off for the year, which is a tough task in itself. So there's their fixture. Look, they're playing Hawthorn twice, which is a massive, massive positive, I'd say, for the Giants, considering there that Hawthorn aren't going to get a home game. It'll be the Giants that get their home game versus Hawthorn, and they've won in Magic Round is a massive W there for the Giants. A couple of other things is that they are actually playing some pretty reasonable sides at Giants Stadium and Monaco Oval as well, which really does help out a lot as well. So that really does help big time for getting wins and that on the board, is that if you can play teams at your home ground, that really does make things feel a lot better. But look, this is going to be a really interesting season here for the Giants to see whether they can try and put up something productive and put a few wins on the board, or whether they literally slump to be the worst team in the competition just on how much depth they've lost. They did do pretty well in the draft, but again, lots of first-year draftees don't get to come out in that first year. But Cadman should play. Surely, I mean, whether it be round 1, round 2, round 5, round 8, whatever it be, Cadman surely has to have a crack in 2023. So, the Giants, it's not a promising fixture. It's going to be a very tough one indeed for them. But I reckon if they can try and be competitive in some of these games, they could definitely pick up a few results as well, considering that they do have a couple of games that are at their home grounds against not so great opponents, which means I reckon they should be able to at least get 3 or 4 wins as probably a bare minimum for 2023. But look, again though, making these predictions is pretty tough, and we'll just have to wait and see how the season goes. So thank you guys, it was so much watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys next another video on channel. Now guys, it was so much from Spy Run, Flaming Footy out.